Hey everybody, how's it going? Welcome back to my channel. In this video, I'm going to be going over the market averages first, of course, and I'll be doing that until we get out of this little downtrend that we're in and until we get into a confirmed uptrend because, you know, the state of the market is what's on everybody's mind. Everybody wants to know if we could potentially be bottoming, so I'll be looking at the evidence of that every single day until, like I said, we get into one of those confirmed uptrends because when the market is just kind of melting up, you know, I don't even really notice what the market is doing, or even if it's just kind of meandering sideways. But it seems like when it is falling off a cliff, it is on people's minds more than ever. But after we get done with the market averages, I'll get into the trades that I made today. And spoiler alert, I only made one and I managed to lose money on it. This stock was going straight up, but somehow I managed to lose money on it, so stick around for that. You know you're talented when you can lose money in a stock that just goes straight up, you know. That's when they tell you don't quit your day job, but you know what, I already quit it, so I'm stuck with the market. And then after that, I'm going to get into one of your questions. But before I get into any of this, just remember, not a financial advisor. All this is just my opinion. I'm just trying to show you what I'm seeing in the market. Please make all of your own trading decisions. With that being said, I do have a Patreon group. The link is down there in the description. It's only $10 a month. I'm in the Discord every single day, and I try to put out a pre-market video before every single trading day just to show you the stocks that I am watching and if I see anything significant in the market. But getting into the QQQs, which of course is the ETF for the NASDAQ, you can see it's another, I don't know, a day where you can take almost anything out of it. I mean, it's not really an inside day because we broke the low from yesterday. It's not really a doji because it's so wide ranging. And of course, there's still plenty of time left in the trading day. So who knows where this thing is going to be by the time the market ends. It broke to a lower low early in the day, and I strongly considered buying some of the SQQQ, trying to just have a little bit of portfolio insurance, you know, just a little hedge to the downside. But the way this market has been going, it seems like if they look like they're going to break it out like they did on this big, beautiful green hammer candle, reversal candle, they don't do that. They just kind of, you know, trap you right here into thinking the market is going up, and they send it right back down. And same thing today. It looked like it was going to be a technical breakdown, found resistance at the 8-period exponential moving average, and started to roll over. So everything in technical analysis is telling you it's probably going to roll over to the downside, but, you know, they sent it right back up. So we have to wait probably another day to figure out where the heck the direction of the market is going to go. But the good news is it looks like it's trying to carve out a bottom. And let's actually go to the 15-minute chart and take a look at it here. This was the area that I was really concerned with yesterday, and I thought if we broke this level, the market was going to be in trouble. They broke it for just a second for a little bit of a technical trap, and they sent it right back up pretty strongly. But as we can see, it is starting to roll over again, and we might be testing that again today. So it's going to be interesting to see if this level holds. This is a level that I think is the most significant in the market. A lot of people like to look at the lowest low in the bounce, and you know, a lot of times that is not the most significant area. It's usually the area with the most touches. So this is the area that has the most touches that I can see, and if we get a breakdown through that, I think the market is going to be in trouble. So I'm watching that area like a hawk. Well, let's go back to the daily. Let's take a look at the spider, which is the S&P 500. See, the S&P 500 is holding this support that has been there for many months. That is a good sign. Gave a little bit of a fake breakdown and then a jump right back up. But this area, you know, you could probably lower it a little bit if you wanted to. I like to look at support and resistance as areas, not just one single line in the sand. But good news is the spider is holding up as well. I think if the spider can hang around here, you know, and then get a little bit of a pop, that could be enough support, enough days down here to form a little bit of a bottom, at least a temporary bottom, you know, something that is a tradable bounce anyway. But let's take a look at the diamond. See, the diamond's pretty much the same thing. It's struggling with that 8-period exponential moving average. Almost made it there today. So honestly, with today's price action, if it stays where it is right now, I honestly think that is constructive for a bottom. Even though it took out the low from yesterday, I still think it's very constructive for a bottom. So good news if it can hang around. And if we look at the IWM, that is a different story. You can see this is what usually happens when you run into that 8-period exponential moving average and you have that breakdown. You usually get some follow through to the downside, but the other ones are holding up. So if the other averages can hold their own, I think the IWM is probably not going to be falling too much further. But that's my take on the market so far. Hopefully we can hold these ranges that we're in and not break down before the weekend. But let's actually get into that trade. All right, so let's get into that trade. I made a day trade, a round trip trade on Nightscope Incorporated, KSCP. And I talked about this one in my pre-market video. I said there's a pretty good chance that this one could really get going if it started moving to the upside, because it only been traded 1 day previously. So that means there's not a whole heck of a lot of overhead resistance. And that was an understatement, because this thing just exploded. It exploded after I traded it, but you can see all the volume that came in on it. But let's actually go to the 1-minute chart, and I'll show you how that trade was shaping up. I was watching it as it gapped up this morning. Look how much this thing moved. I mean, you can't even really see. My little trade was down here, but the way with how far this thing went to the upside, you can barely see it. So let me resize it here so we can see a little better. But I was watching KSCP, had a nice little gap up, and then it turned around, so I'm waiting for it to find some support at the moving averages. It wasn't really finding a whole heck of a lot of support at the moving averages, and it was forming this little ceiling right here. So I put in my order once it was right about here, that if it broke this level right here, let me see if I can get that to work. I might have to do it again here. If it broke this little ceiling right here, I wanted to be a part of it because I thought it could move up. It's just rolled over and it crashed down. I took my order out because I thought after this breakdown, this setup was not going to be valid anymore, but we had an immediate reversal and it came up and found resistance at that ceiling 2 more times. So I put in my order right here, and then it immediately grabbed it, exploded higher. I put in my order to sell at $7.24, and it just missed it, turned around, and it stopped me out at $6.61. By the way, my entry price was $6.74, so it was only a small gain. I was like, all right, well, no big deal. I just kind of missed it, and it went up fast, and I was up actually quite a bit on this trade. So it was, it was kind of a bummer. But watching this thing go forward, I saw it making this ceiling right here, and I actually put in an order when it was right here, and then I was like, you know what, I changed my mind. I think I'm just going to leave this one alone for the day. I canceled my order. It would have stopped me in like 2 minutes later. It would have pulled back, found support at that moving average, and then I would have had an even bigger gain if I would have taken this trade. But for whatever reason, I pulled that order, and then I checked it about an hour and a half later, and I couldn't believe my eyes. It just absolutely exploded. But that's what happens sometimes. You still got to stick to your rules. When you see charts like this, it makes you want to bend or break your rules. But trust me, if you have some rules on risk management and you break them more often than you don't, it's probably going to hurt you. So this is one of those situations where it was just a total bummer all the way around. I've been kind of preoccupied looking at the QQQs and the IWM. Normally, when we're in a regular market, I'm not really looking at those things hardly at all. I'm looking at the stocks that I want to trade and the ones that I own from time to time, but that is about it. I seem like I always got one eye looking to the left, looking at that QQQ chart, because when the QQQ or the NASDAQ gets really volatile, I can open up some trading opportunities and options. So, it's almost a little distracting, but hey, it is what it is. This trade was just bad luck. It's been one of those weeks. So hopefully next week is going to be a better week. But let's get into that question. All right, well, this question is from DIY, and they're asking about SGBX, SG Blocks Incorporated. When I saw that ticker for the first time, I thought I knew this company, but I thought maybe perhaps I traded them in the past, but I don't think I have. I don't think I've ever seen this chart before. I mean, this chart looks a lot like some of the high flyers from last year that topped out in February, and then I've just been kind of in this little death spiral ever since. But it's a pretty interesting chart. You know, it seems like the volume, for whatever reason, just kind of flatlined for months and months and months. You get this one big green accumulation spike, and then all of a sudden it just brings a bunch of sellers out of the woodworks, and it just starts to fade. I don't know if these are short sellers or just people that were trapped up here that are just finally throwing in the towel. But then you also see a bunch of other accumulation spikes. So if I had to look at this, I would say, even though it's fading, it's probably in the beginning stages of an accumulation phase. And you can see the downtrend is starting to dissipate, but you would expect that anyway once you start getting down into these low numbers, you know, under $2 a share. You know, usually the downtrend will start to dissipate. Sometimes they continue to fall off a cliff and, you know, go into the really low numbers. But, you know, let's bring up the balance of power. See if I can bring it up here. Get that out of here. But this is, yeah, no, it definitely looks like it's been under accumulation since we've had that green spike. This is when, you know, bigger players try to hide their accumulation. That's why I like this balance of power indicator. But, you know, over time you can, you know, start to see in the chart what these indicators tell you once you see them a bunch of times. And the balance of power indicator, if you're not sure it's what it is, it's just an indicator that tracks buy and sell orders of 10,000 shares or more, I do believe. And, you know, so that's tracking what the big boys are doing, not the little guys like me are doing. And usually can tell you a little bit under the scenes. Is it under accumulation or is it under distribution? And this is one of those indicators that, you know, I don't really pay attention to it when it's kind of like this. I only pay attention to it when it's at extremes. You know, it's kind of like, you know, the stochastics. Only when the stochastics get to extreme levels do I really worry about it. But we're starting to see some accumulation in SGBX by the looks of it. Let me get that sucker out of here. I don't know. If you are in this stock, I would say you might as well hold on to it if it's under accumulation right now. I don't know where you bought it. That's just what I would do. I know if you've been in the stock for a long time, you're probably in a lot of pain. You might be wondering, you know, is it time to get rid of this dog? Or if you've been thinking about buying it, is it time to start buying it? I don't know if I would necessarily buy it if you're not in it right now. I'd kind of wait for it to make, you know, get above a technical ceiling, which is at least 240 right now. And that's the only time I would consider buying it if I wasn't in it. But this is a good sign. It's in the metal fabrication sector. I think that's kind of a weak sector. PRLB is in that sector, at least on the TC 2000. And I know this one just because this was one of the ARK Invest stocks. You know, during this big run up, it topped out in February, and it's just been in that death spiral ever since. And actually, ARK has been selling this one aggressively. They might even be fully out of it by now. Who knows? But I remember when I was watching some of those ARK reports that they were, you know, aggressively getting out of this one. So whatever they liked back here, they didn't like anymore. They were getting out of it. I don't know a whole heck of a lot about this company. You know, another stock in that sector is HAYN. And you can see HAYN, you know, is starting to fall off a cliff. This could be a pretty weak sector overall, so it could take some time for this sector to turn around. RYI, metal fabrication sector, you can see this one's also weak, so it's definitely, I wouldn't say, one of the stronger sectors out there, so this one could take some time. VMI, you know, breaking some long-term support and rolling over. It almost looks like the IWM, actually, but I don't know, kind of a weak sector, but it looks like SGBX is under accumulation, so it's kind of a tough call. Hopefully I answered something in that ramble for you, but I appreciate the question. Well, that's all I have for this one, everybody. If you have any questions, please leave them for me down there in the comments section. I'll get to them as soon as I can. Thank you so much for watching my video all the way to the end, and until next time, take care, everybody.